let me break this down.
Hey, you're watching Fat Man DD1, you dingus. Whatever he said.
Yo, this is your boy Fat Man DD1. Thank you for joining me for another video. I know, I'm sorry, I'm not up to date. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about The Last of Us anymore. I will kind of finish The Last of Us. At this point, it's kind of a rushed out thing. I'm just kind of trying to collect everything that happened with Laura Bailey and kind of dissecting it and blaming it on Neil Druckmann because it is your fault. But that's neither here or there. We're talking about Dean Cain and Tom King. So if anybody knows who Dean Cain is, he's basically a dude that played Superman in the live action Lois and Clark TV series. Cool dude. He played Superman for a long time, right? Tom King is a comic book writer. He used to work for the CIA or the FBI. It's kind of one of those. I'm not sure which one it is. Probably the FBI or CIA. But I need to be real here. They both have some civil discourse. And before we get into that civil discourse, we got to hear what transpired and what happened before this. And before we get into any of that and before we kind of dissect it, as most people understand, right now there's a lot of civil discourse and a lot of craziness happening in the country. So we're going to break down this video that Dean Cain kind of just speaks his mind and says what he says. Remember, he's a cop, and he's speaking from a human place, but I think he's also speaking from from the ops. Let's get to this.
Good morning, Ainsley.
What do you think? First it was Paw Patrol.
This one's got me a little fired up.
I'm sure. All right, first it was Paw Patrol. It was the war on cops. Now superheroes. You were a superhero, and now you're a police officer. What do you think?
Look, I played a superhero on television. This is insane to me, though, because these people will scream anti-police rhetoric all day long, but when their life is threatened and they need a hero, they will dial 911 and a police officer will show up, because police officers are heroes. Now, yes, there have been some bad apples, there's been some bad situations, but 99.9% of all police officers are fantastic. They are there to serve and protect, and they do a fantastic job. This whole cancel culture thing that we're living in right now is crazy. It's like an early version of George Orwell's 1984. Up is down, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. That's newspeak, and it's crazy. And what this article does in Time Magazine, what they talk about, I mean, from the very beginning, she makes a bunch of, the author of this article makes a bunch of claims that are totally untrue. She says, in the real world, tolerance for law enforcement acting with impunity is eroding. Law enforcement acting with impunity has never been something we've tolerated, never will. Calls to defund the police have now gone mainstream. No, they haven't. Look at Seattle's Chop Zone. Look what happened there. Look at the crime statistics in New York City. Then she says, Hollywood heroizes cops. You can destroy that in one, just a list of titles. Training Day, Serpico, The Departed, The Wire, Black Klansman, Rampart, Rambo. I mean, the list goes on and on, because a bad cop is a great villain because they're not supposed to be bad. So this stuff all just drives me insane. I promise you, as Superman, I wouldn't today be allowed to say truth, justice, and the American way.
So on that note, everything he's saying is they're trying to relate superheroes and cops. Listen, for the longest, I know one thing about Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, any street-level villain, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. The one thing about superheroes is they're not the police. They do fight crime. They do the police's job, but at the end of the day, they're vigilantes. So let's break this down. A vigilante like Batman only fucks with Commissioner Gordon. He usually does. In most of the comics, he ain't fuck with Commissioner Gordon, but he needs to he needs to have some type of rapport with him so Gordon doesn't roll his people in shooting him when he's trying to fight the bad guy and then take down his people. That's not how it works, you know what I'm saying? So he created that open conversation, that rapport with Commissioner Gordon. Like, I need you to know that I'm on your side, but I'm doing it. Batman is, I am vengeance, I am night. You know what I'm saying? He is vengeance, he is night. He doesn't say, I am vengeance, I am justice, I am night. No. Batman is a vigilante. At the end of the day, he beats up the bad guys, but who does he leave it for? The cops. Let's end that story right there. Batman leaves it for the police. Any villain Batman has fought, he believes they need to be rehabilitated. Batman broke my arm. You'll heal in a couple of months. And then he'll get right back to walking, doing their thing. That's it. He uses excessive force because that's the best way to take down these guys. How big are they? How strong are they? How much force can I, do to them, knock them out, break something, teach them not to do it again, and then have them be on their way. Any villain he's fought, he believes they should be rehabilitated and put back into the system. and then maybe become part of society if they choose to. That's only if they choose to. Most of his villains never do that because their minds is set on crime. They mostly, I love the Arkham games because they really explore the disease that every villain he fights has, and even explore his own disease. But at the same time, the core of that is where it's at. His villains are more sick in the head than he is, and we kind of sympathize with that. With Spider-Man, it's more of like he defeats the bad guys, ties them up for the police, always leaves a note or a card, and that's the end of it. Do you think Spider-Man is against the police, anti-police? No, he helps the police officers do their jobs better. Superman beats up the bad guys, leave them for the cops. I like the way he says, if I was playing Superman today, you better believe I would not be saying truth, justice, and the American way. That's not true. And Tom King says it. He said, motherfucker, I put it in a comic book, shaking my head. In other words, Tom King is basically saying, I put truth, justice, and the American way in a comic. What are you talking about? I believe in truth. I believe in justice. I believe in the American way. Basically, we all still believe in truth, justice, and the American way. That's kind of separation of that. And that's the understanding of it. Dean Cain is not saying anything wrong, but he is kind of just saying, listen, this article is kind of fucked up. A bad cop is a bad cop. He said 99.99% of cops are good. Where's that 1% you're leaving out? So you're saying 1% of cops are bad. That's what you're saying, basically. Why is it not 100% of cops are really good, but there's 100% of cops that are bad? Why is it not 50-50? Why aren't there 50% good cops, 50% bad cops? You know what I'm saying? But he's basically saying that the system has done its job right, but there are going to be some bad apples. I'm tired of hearing that fucking word. Do you know what a bad apple rots the whole tree. The bad apple in a bunch rots the whole tree. It rots the whole tree. I don't care what you say. A friend of mine's whose family member is a cop had only one partner. Most cops have one individual partner. Most of them deal with that one individual partner. And if they do find out somebody doing some extra crazy shit, bow, right in the kisser. Handle them. And I respect that 100%. Superman stands for truth, justice, the American way. Now I know Nerd at Newsstand, she just kind of made a video, and I wanted to respond on her video and saying, listen, DC Comics did not respond on the 4th of July. They usually do a 4th of July post. They did a Juneteenth post. I shout out to them for that. But they did not do a 4th of July post. And it's because they didn't feel in the spirit. Now, for me, as most individuals can understand and learn, comics are fictional, but these characters are based in some type of reality for their ideas. When it comes down to superheroes, they defend the people, or they were regular people who, you know, took the chance to say, if I have these powers, I gotta use them for good. Spider-Man is the example of, with true power comes true responsibility. When you have this power, when you get thrust upon it, what do? Do you take the advantage of that ability? Do you use it to help people or use it for your gain? And we see what happens when he just gets a little greedy and then the consequences come to him. It's called the Parker luck. It's pretty bad. But beyond all of that, there's never been someone like Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. I know a lot of people don't relate to Superman because he's a god among men, but in reality, he lived on this planet with a good farm raised American family out in Kansas. He lived out in Smallville. He was raised by that family, and that family installed him values. Every American I know is fucking different. Dean Cain, Tom King here. These are different Americans. Dean Cain is a cop. Tom King used to work for the government. So let's be real here on all factions. One man may not fuck with the other. Cops don't fuck with FBI or CIA like that. You know, they don't necessarily, but there's like a little beef or butting heads with their, I usually hear, like, movies make it sound kind of cool. But let's be honest, their ideas are different. Their ideals, the way they were raised, you know. Clark was raised by two loving parents, Martha and Jonathan Kent. You can't tell me for a second Jonathan Kent did not install the best values into his son. His mother did not install the best values into their son. And what I mean by installing, I mean teaching. I mean showing him that there is good behind every corner. Even being out on the farm, making, you know, ends meet, doing what they can, their son was able to rise up, be a superhero, fight for what is right, and still put in time to now be his own man. Comics give us the chance to understand. The way he says, today I wouldn't be saying truth, justice, the American way. No, that's a lie. That's bullshit. Comic books respect that. Understandable if DC did not want to post on the 4th of July. Is that their fault? Are they bad for that? No, because we all don't feel like there's a subsection of people in this country that are not free. And that freedom comes with a price. I don't care what you say, what you have to say. We all can agree on around the spectrum. Everyone from around the circle can agree. George Floyd's death was fucked up. There were peaceful protests. There were people breaking shit. There were people that were angry. And then there were people taking advantage of the situations. I didn't care for when Manhattan got busted up because that's not my problem. Those businesses and companies are insured. They have money. When it came over here in the Bronx and the hood, it's just kind of like, well, this is kind of stupid. But at the same time, they came to the hood to do what? Steal jewelry, steal phones, steal sneakers to make come-ups. These were people looking for advantages and come-ups. These certain people, even Sneeko, I think his video is good. Right here, Sneeko. This YouTuber is, for in my case, one of the best type of people. He even has a video inside the New York City looting. Like, the looting begins inside the look on like New York City and the breakdown of like what's happening. Be honest with you, the dude's videos made sense. This one's got 1 million fucking views. This one's is about to reach that. The dude is an amazing YouTuber, but he was in the forefront. Look, I may have stayed home from all of the crazy shit, and I did not want to interact with this because you gotta think above it, think ahead of it. And in reality, let's be real here, this shit was beyond me. I did not want to make an ass of myself, go out there, steal some shit, and then just be on the train headed back to my house with merchandise I stole. Like, and you know, I would not feel anything at all because it's Manhattan. Fuck them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because Manhattan doesn't care about us. Literally, there's rich people all the time in Manhattan buying rich shit. Like, there's a lot of places that are insured, so fuck them. But like I said before, when it came to the hoods, this video here spoke about it the most part. He says it. There was just young people looking for a come up, looking for money, not really caring about what's going on. They just wanted to make cash, do their thing, and get the fuck out. They didn't care or even know who it was for. And that leads me back to Tom King and Dan Cain. Listen, when it comes down to it, these riots, they were fucked up. Everything that happened in George Floyd was fucked up. We can all agree with that was fucked up. Cool. In the past couple of weeks, there have been 6 hangings around like the country, especially one in New York City. Let me be real with you. When this type of civil unrest happens, I even tried to talk about this with a dude on like Twitter, and he was a fucking idiot. Like, I have geeky in your name, and you just don't understand the severity of what's happening. I didn't condone the burning, the looting. I didn't condone it, no. But at the same time, I understood people are pissed, people are mad, or people are looking for a come up. There's a lot of ors here. You gotta understand it from 3 sides. There's peaceful, there's people mad and break shit, and there's people that take advantage. There's 3 sides that come to this. Now, there's no more looting. There's no more burning. There's nothing else happening but people protesting. And why are we still being called thugs? Because they are. Black people in general. Like, why are those people still being called thugs? There's no looting. There's no burning. There's no more punching, kicking, none of that shit. Why are people still being called thugs? Because it happened. That's why. If the looting never started, the fires never started, and people were still protesting, maybe. But people get mad. People get pissed. Civil unrest. When it comes down to it, Dean Cain makes a point that if he played Superman, would he not be able to say it? Probably, in a very fucked up world, but every individual, every American, no matter if you're black, white, Spanish, Asian, you have a sense of truth, a sense of justice, and a sense of knowing what your way is as an American if you were born here and live here. We all have different truths, values as Americans. Regardless of our heritage, we know we were born in this land. Black people feel that this land, these people have treated a lot of shit wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it is. Black people don't have the best relationship with the cops. It is what it is. We just don't. And that's probably maybe the authority aspect of it, but we don't fuck with the ops. You know what I'm saying? That's the full-on aspect of it. You don't fuck with the ops. He is an op. But he was also a Superman actor. I can give him to his words. But when these two both have a discussion here online, and the dude basically says some shit about him not wearing a mask, and he responds to this, And I read this and I was just like, okay, he was just breathing in his own CO2 and he thinks he has brain damage. It's basically he's making a terrible joke. And then he responds, this is why he put the FU in this, which I'm just like, bro, that's stupid. But I love Dean Cain, his professionalism. He's just like, look, he wants to know what the comic issue is. Me too, I want to know what comic issue this is. But I do respect the fact that he's just like, hey, bro, that was kind of uncalled for. And it is, but he's also saying, motherfucker, I put Truth, Justice, and the American Way in a comic book. What are you talking about, basically? And I understand that. He's just like, the American people don't have a problem with it. But in this day and age, when there's civil unrest between the African American group of people, and I heard a lot of dumb shit that there are people out there saying, oh, BLM is Marxism. I'm like, prove it. Show me. I need to see it in the newspapers. I need to see the shit that you're talking about. Show me. Because I think you're fucking wrong and stupid. There's nothing like that. I don't believe in Marxism. I don't know what the fuck that is almost. I probably have to go back and research. I think I heard of it before. But at the end of the day, no one is talking about screw Whitey, kill Whitey. No one is doing that. There is civil unrest because people want justice and people want accountability. When it comes down to it, Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, they would have all agreed we want accountability. I actually said this a while back, and I thank this coronavirus because without this virus, we would never got in the true look of America. Without the virus, we've lost a lot of people. That's true. People have been inside. People gotten money. But at the same time, that money didn't help people with their bills. At the same time, court systems are still shut down. Things are opening back up slowly, but the virus keeps spiking. And 3, we seen a man pass on and leave behind his daughter, his wife, friends, and family. Doesn't matter what you believe about George Floyd. Doesn't matter what you read about George Floyd. This is the one thing I make it clear to everyone. Police officers are not judge, jury, and executioners. Remember that. If you believe in the American way, if you believe in anything happening now, you know these 3 things. Is a cop a judge? No. Is he a jury? No. Is he an executioner? Fuck no. That is not their jobs. It is to serve and protect the people. Now, enforce the law. Uphold it. Uphold the values of the law. Know the law. Hear me out as an individual that just goes about his day. My tax monies go to these people. You tell me my money's, my shit goes to you and you can't protect me. I feel unsafe. I understand the hood and people being reckless as fuck, but I don't understand you as an individual. What in your mind says, I'm gonna kill this man. But through these words, I feel here, truth, justice, and the American way for anybody rings loud bells, especially for superheroes, because they are the antithesis of the human spirit, the human mind, the idea of people who you believe in who can do good. For a long time, and up until now, this has been going on for 3 months, shit doesn't look pretty, and there's not a sight at the end of the tunnel. Regardless of how you feel about this country, everyone started looking at America like, what are you doing? What are you doing to make sure that doesn't happen again? What are you doing to make sure we don't get to see that again? I don't care what you feel about BLM or what you feel about it or what you feel about the burnings or the shit that's happened. People can get their jobs back. People can build back housing and buildings. Somebody's like, they burned down houses. They burned down a house that was sex trafficking. That's what I heard. So anything else is just cannon fodder. Stop. Slow the fuck down and realize what you're saying. And people need to stop switching the narrative that, oh, what about black on black lives? I'm like, yeah, our lives do matter. But you mean black on black crime? There's no such thing as black on black crime. If a white dude shoots a white dude, is that called white on white crime? No, that's called regular crime. If an Indian man shoots an Indian man, is that called Indian on Indian crime? No, it's called 2 people that had a disagreement and shot each other. We're human. I'm human. I never said every black person was going to get on board with the BLM movement. No. Yes, black lives have always mattered. But in an age where we keep seeing people get gunned down by cops, it's fucking annoying. And just to hear this man say he would never be able to say truth, justice, and the American way ever again, that's not true. That's definitely not true. And comics embodying that, these 2 men should know the comic books, the fictional characters represent more than the average person. They represent the ideas that was instilled and created on them by people that fucking love these characters. Straight the fuck up. To the chest, to God's fucking mouth. Sounds corny. And I hear what they're both saying. You know, they both had a little beef here and there, but in reality, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. But I had to speak on that because it made me just feel like there's civil unrest. There is. But when cops are held accountable, but when more laws are passed and people feel more safe, when cops are held accountable to a higher degree of the law that they're supposed to protect, I respect that. A lot of police officers use excessive force that's just useless. Like, what are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Police officers killed a 10-year-old boy. They shot in the father's truck and they killed a kid. So I don't want to hear the shit about, oh, there's bad. No, they use bad judgment. But in reality, that judgment can get someone killed. I don't want to hear about your store, your house, none of that shit. Because guess what? That can be rebuilt. Your life can be rebuilt. But someone else's actual human life can't. That's something that should be fucking obvious to people. But they keep on trying to switch the narrative and say, well, black people kill, but so what the fuck what? We can't fight amongst each other the same way the rest of you bitch ass people do? Everyone fights amongst each other. It's happening in China, India, fucking everywhere else around the world. People fight with each other. But the one thing it comes down to, yes, we make it about race because what's prevalent there? So I don't want to hear shit out of an actor, cop, or FBI agent. I respect both of their understandings. He feels like he will never be able to say true justice in the American way ever again. That's not true. You can't in comics express that feeling because those are also people. DC not being able to post that, I don't know. But Tom King even said, he put in the comic, this speaks volumes to me. This speaks volumes because this is what Superman stands for. And at the end of the day, there's nothing more you can ask. Like, what can you ask? But maybe I'm thinking about it too narrow-minded. Maybe I'm looking at it from a lens that's less toxic. But from me to you, what do you think? Do you think Tom King is speaking facts, like comic books are still able to have these conversations where the real world can't? And I actually believe that comic books are able to touch on more things darker, deeper than the real world and even relate to what's happening over here. Or do you agree with Cain? I agree with Dean about there are being good cops out there. There probably are, but then that 1% kind of scares me because you don't know how big that number is, and neither does he. He can speak because he is a cop, but at the same time, you don't work in New York City. And he brought up Chop, but people don't know what that shit just lost track. Fuck Chop. I have to be real here. Americans care about this country. We just want to make sure us as people can feel safe. Everyone wants to feel safe. It's not just black people, it's everyone. But black people especially, because what's happened over the years, too many deaths. Too many. To count. 10, 6? What's next? Another month or year from now, it's happening? Come on, bro. Don't save me the bullshit. Save me the bullshit. But this is your boy, Fat Man D. Make sure to like, subscribe. I know this was a very dark, deep opinion, but I wanted to let y'all know about this. I wanted to be real here. So, let me know what you think. Remember to never give up, never surrender, and keep on grinding. And mad love. Peace out.
Shit. Getting on drum. You little niggas gonna stop acting like my shit ain't the grill. Some of you niggas get your front teeth for grills. And I ain't talking about the contract.
I ain't loving these fake hoes. Room smelling like 8 switches. Room service like 2K. NBA, I'm ballin', nigga. All them niggas fallin' like all them niggas. Talking shit, I saw them niggas. Now they daughter want a picture. Rough, ain't it? Fuck famous. Yeah, niggas too real, got the most haters. Wrote a story so Stephen Curry. How it feel to be golden.